Hey, what's up, guys? It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur, Smith, and Andrews. And we are back again. I still haven't got paid from last week's show.
I went to the check. I checked there.
You know what I mean? But this week, we are talking about the COVID, the vaccine. Should you get vaccinated or should you not?
Yes.
What's best for you, your family, your kids, your loved ones? The whole nine. We covered this show before, and since then we've had Delta. We now have Omicron. I've had family members die. I've had friends catch COVID, so on and so forth. So let's take another deep dive and see what we come up with. And at the end of the show, I'm going to ask all three of us to give our opinion on if we think we should get vaccinated or not and why. So that'll be the ender.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're joining us for the first time, I'm a film and TV director, producer, writer. Love history, politics, and race. Hence the H, the P, the R. Chris here is a veteran of the Army Reserve. Currently works for the VA, aka Crispy. You might hear me say Smith. You might hear me say Crispy. K Boogie here is Andrews. You hear me say Andrews. Might hear me say K Boogie. You know who I'm talking about. These two gents to my right and left. Don't forget to subscribe on ICT Group Digital. Hit that notification button. Send us some likes, all that good stuff. And thank you for listening where you get your podcast.
Did you want to kind of introduce his background a little bit?
Oh, yeah, that's
Military
right.
too.
Andrews is also military, Navy, right? And he's currently a film and TV producer, director, writer as well.
Army's better.
So, yeah, he said Army's better. That's another debate we actually could have on the show one day. Yeah, so anyway, guys, like I said, today we're going to take a deep dive into COVID and the vaccine and just see where it all is. You know what I mean? How are you guys doing? Like I said, I've been boosted. I said it before the last show. The reason why I got boosted was we have a almost 3-year-old, my girlfriend, and I'm helping her raise her. And we really did it for her, to be honest. Both of us are super healthy. You know, I actually take the cocktail of natural herbs that are recommended by the scientists. Actually, Andrew sent me a really long video that I watched, and I realized that I was missing one or two of those natural herbs that I now have in my closet. And actually, before the show is out, I'll even probably bring those down and show you guys what I take every morning. So even though I take all that, I drink a gallon a day, I work out 5 times a week, I still got vaccinated, and I still went and got boosted for a lot of reasons. You know what I mean? And I'll take a deep dive into what those reasons were as well. So that's where I am with it. You know, I don't know who wants to jump it off first.
I'll go next just because it's going to be simpler.
Smith or Andrews.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's going to be simpler.
You're going to send me first, right?
No,
So we'll let these guys take a dive. I'll interject, take my dive, and at the end, we're going to give our opinions, man. So that's where we at with it.
Yeah, so I got vaccinated. I haven't done the booster yet. Just haven't set up that time to get it done. I have to drive into the VA. And, knock on wood, I've been lucky enough. I haven't contacted or haven't gotten COVID yet.
And
any
if you
of
have,
the
you
versions,
didn't know.
or
It was asymptomatic.
if I could be asymptomatic.
Yeah.
So, Christmas. There's been a couple scares where I've been around people or worked someplace that other people have ended up being positive. I've been tested and negative all those times. When I got mine done, I was preparing to go back to Chicago to see my family, my mother and my aunt. They live in the same household. They're more in the high risk group, right? And they're they're 70. They're the risk group. So I also wanted to see my grandmother, who's in a nursing home, and she also is obviously in a very risky group to be catching it. So, and then I was going back to for my son's graduation, so I'd be around him, and then his mother and their family and stuff like that. Again, being around people and knowing their side of the family, they're actually concerned and they got their shots done. So for me, it was just so I could be around my family and not have to worry about potentially passing along something that could affect them.
Right. Even though we now know that whether you have the vaccine or not, you still can get it. And
you could pass it and get it. But one of the things that is brought up about getting the vaccine is that you have the chances of having a very bad symptoms from it
Right.
is less.
They say it's harder to pass it when you're vaccinated.
There's also less chance
so on
of
and
you
so forth. Your
getting
viral
it
load
from-
is less.
Yeah. And it works on your it affects the antibodies. You already have antibodies in your body, so therefore when it does, if you do get it, it'll attack it sooner, quicker, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's all the signs. So Andrew's the only one on the set today that haven't gotten it. So let's talk about first, Andrews, why you didn't get the vaccine. We've just talked about why we got it.
Okay. Well, you know,
you heard that big deep breath. Oh, okay.
Man, it's because at this point, COVID has become so political. I would damn near say it's like religion.
Yeah.
And I've seen on Facebook and social media family members, unfriending or not even unfriending in real life. Family members who made a choice about whether they get the COVID vaccine or not. And I think from the time COVID began till now, so many things have changed, and there really isn't any definitives yet. However, with that being said, I'm a little bit more confident about the vaccine based on the time it took them and all the new research that came out. I still won't get it, but I didn't take it because of the inconsistencies with everything. I didn't take it because I know Pfizer is a corrupt company. I didn't take it because I know FDA is a corrupt company. I didn't take it because this government has a history of doing jacked up shit. I didn't take it because this thing wasn't about health. If it was about health and saving lives, then we wouldn't have cigarettes. We would have put a ban on sugar. We would have watched alcohol level. I didn't take it because 78% of the people who die with corona and end up in the hospital, they're obese, and yet that's true. And we have yet to say, well, look, let's work on our health. And America, we're a fat country. You know what I mean? I think we're the fattest country right now on the planet, and there's a multitude of different reasons. And I've never ignored the science. I'm a due diligence guy, and I've dived deep. So I love y'all, but when y'all say that, y'all take it to protect others. But at the same time, they're saying that you can still.
No, I also
took
it to protect myself as well. I figured if I was not to cut you, I just want to.
Gotcha.
Want to interject. I also took it to just an extra layer of protection because I do know of those cases where there's been healthy athletes who's gotten it and just literally died days later.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and. It's one of those things that it's man-made, and you even said this to me on the phone the other day. Yeah. It's man-made, so
that's another reason I don't trust.
So they can't figure. I'm talking about the diseases.
Yeah.
So they haven't figured out yet why you can have an athlete that's perfectly healthy, no pre-existing condition, and for some reason, it just takes him out in a few days from the moment he's diagnosed. Yeah, just takes him out. And for me, I've got to live for. Yeah, and I personally didn't want to be one of those 1%. I know it's a minute percent that happens, but it does happen. Yeah. And I know from the science that when you have the vaccine, it does minimize the viral load so that you're not in the hospital and you're not dead and stuff like that.
And I agree with you. In that. Right. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure about that science, and I didn't believe in that science based on that. But now there's a lot of more studies that's coming out. I would say though, on the other end of that spectrum, where you're saying a small percentage of the people who didn't get the vaccine and died, at the end there's other complications with the vaccine. Now I can't say it's definitive, but now it's out there. There's
Johnson & Johnson, they've showed how Johnson & Johnson killed those few people.
It's Pfizer, it's Moderna, it's all of them, and there's so many testimonies. People are getting inflammation in their heart. You know what I mean? You have 37-year-olds who have the heart of a 70-year-old now. Yeah. And I'm telling you, if you look up on YouTube, look up a solid doctor, who's accredited, who knows what the hell he's talking about, who doesn't have a bias, who puts out the information there, and who talks about, the side effects and adverse effects. Just look in the comments. Look in the comments. It'll blow your mind. So, when I got COVID, and some people might say, hey, I was lucky to not die or whatever.
Yeah, you were lucky.
I don't think I was lucky, because you know why? I know I was a healthy individual from a disease which has a high percentage rate of surviving. And I truly believe that, because of the way I do all the things that you do. And that's why I can respect you, because even though you take the vaccine, you know why, and you have other reasons, and you do take care of your health.
Did you say it had a high rate of survival?
It's a high rate of survival for COVID.
Yeah,
Very high.
Is, yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
High rate of survival for COVID.
The mortality rate is really small.
Very high.
Even though my aunt died from it recently back in October.
You gotta stop listening to the news, bro.
600,000 people.
You gotta stop listening to the news.
That's still low.
I'm not taking away death. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking away the validity
my
of death.
aunt died and she shouldn't.
You know what I'm saying?
Died.
But it's a high survival rate. And the reason why I don't count myself lucky. I would say I would say I count you lucky that you didn't get an adverse effects because I know those exist. And before the CDC, they was covering up. They said that all these things.
Whoa. Let me stop you for that. That's kind of unfair. The same way you're saying there's a high rate of survival, it's also the same that for people that gets vaccinated, only a small, minute amount of us get those adverse effects.
True.
The same way.
I'm not saying. You're right. But I'm just telling you. I can say. No, you're right. And I totally.
Let's be fair.
I 1,000% agree.
Yeah.
Because and now a lot more studies has come out, and for me with the COVID, man, it's really hard to trust these people, man, because time and time again. I'm a big energy person. Some people might not want to hear that. That's what the hell is an energy person, and I believe in anecdotal evidence. I believe in the other people's testimonies. I believe in watching somebody on scene that way. That don't make no sense. But I also believe in due diligence. When I've done my due diligence, what I found is that these people, they ignored a lot of things.
When you say these people, who?
The government, the CDC, Fauci, and the director of the CDC. They continue to ignore things. You have brilliant doctors. Dr. Peter McCullough, I always use him. I was learning about Dr. Peter McCullough when I was in school in the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and we followed a lot of his teachings. And he published a multitude of articles and peer-reviewed studies about this, and made a video, and they blocked him. He been using therapeutics to cure hundreds, if not thousands, of patients. And they stopped therapy. They said, no, we're not going to use that. Right? You know what? And then next, they said, well, okay, natural immunity. There's a study done on natural immunity in Israel. 2.5 million is the largest study ever conducted. Right? It hasn't been peer-reviewed, though. Right. America ain't peer-reviewed it. You see what I'm saying? And in the congressional hearings, they asked Fauci, they asked the director of the CDC.
The one chick.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And they really had anything constructive to say about natural immunity. They dance around the bush. However, I would say this, the same study that Israel's done, right? The study's shown, and listen to this, that natural immunity provides superior protection to vaccinated immunity with the Pfizer vaccine. In fact, it's 13 times more likely not to get it with natural immunity. Now, with that being said, it also shows that the vaccinated immunity can be improved by booster vaccinations. The study also showed that it demonstrates that natural immunity can be improved by a single vaccination after time from the previous infection. Like I said, so we're at this point where the science is showing that the vaccine do work. But don't mandate stuff for us when the studies there that showed that natural immunity works, and Israel done the study, and America don't want to take a look at it. The CDC don't want to really dive into it because that's not what they want. The only thing they push is vaccine. The only thing that pushes vaccine when 78% of the people who are dying are obese and have other problems. The only thing that pushes vaccine when they know natural immunity is a thing. The only thing that pushes vaccine when they know that sunlight should be investigated, vitamin D. For us, especially people with melanin. A lot of people don't know this, but melanin keeps the sun out. It's sunblock. We get less sun.
Even when we're in the sun.
Yeah, even when we're in the sun. And it has been correlated, and there's a multitude of studies that show that we're more likely to get COVID because of lack of vitamin D. Even in the patients who are obese, diabetics, all of them, all vitamin D deficient people. So for me, at this point, why mandate something? Why force us to take when there are studies out there? And that screams agenda to me. You know what I mean? I don't, and I don't. If you don't, to me, if you don't see that, you know.
Well, to me, first of all, I do have to say when I looked up to take the booster, because you haven't done it yet. When I looked up to take the booster, unlike when I looked up to take the vaccine, for the first time, the drugstore had all the side effects.
That's awesome.
Had all the bad side effects.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, snap.
Awesome.
Then when I read all the stuff, they literally had it on
They
the
should have
side.
did that from the beginning.
They didn't do it at the beginning, no.
But it was
They
still
didn't.
under the emergency
Yeah,
whatever.
they
I
didn't
mean,
do it.
They knew, bro. Don't think they didn't know. They were doctors talking about
they
this
just
then.
didn't do it because they didn't want to scare us from taking it.
Yeah, and they call them
because it almost scared me from taking the booster. And I was like, well, I already took the Moderna. It didn't do anything to me. So let me go and get this booster because after a lot of research, I realized that after 6, 7, 8 months,
it goes down.
we're like no longer protected from. So I said, let me go on and get the booster. You know what I mean? So it's interesting how now they're saying what the side effects are. It's very interesting. I lost my train of thought. I had another point I wanted to make. Did you want to? That's why this notepads. I should have wrote it down.
It's all good.
But
it's a circus. You know what I mean? To me, I laugh at it now.
No, this is what I wanted to say real quick. As far as Andrew saying there's an agenda, right? I don't necessarily agree with that narrative. I do and I don't. And let me explain what I mean. Okay. The virus was created, we know, in the lab. Fauci and all these guys had something to do with it and so on and so forth, right?
I don't necessarily.
Now, all right, and we'll definitely, you want to write that down so we can talk about it? Yeah, no. So we all know that. That's been on the news, it's been proven, so on and so forth, right? Now, since it came out, I don't think there's some deep, oh my God, what are they doing? There's this big conspiracy agenda going on. At this point, I think the only agenda is dollars. I don't think it has nothing to do with...
And that's what I mean. I don't mean conspiracy.
I don't think there's some weird...
agree with me. No.
I don't think there's some weird conspiracy.
That's
I just think instead of them going, listen, guys, get in the gym, drink water, exercise, get your BMI down, take vitamin D, take NAC, and I'm going to give you guys a list of all the stuff at the end of the show.
Nice.
You know what I mean? You know, instead of them doing that, they're saying... vaccine, because there's dollars involved. That I do agree with.
That's my problem.
Now, with that said, I'm not saying that, and I've told Andrew this before, with that said, I'm not saying that the vaccine shouldn't exist, because it's much easier to put something in a needle and go, we could just give this directly to the people. And what do you expect Pfizer and Moderna's coming to do? Do it for free? Everybody got to eat, and it costs to make this stuff. It'll be much harder to get 300 million people to take the trailer load of herbs I'm taking every morning, which I'm going to show you, like I keep saying. It's much harder to get people to take all that stuff that I take every morning than it would be to get them to take a shot. So I do believe that as well. They knew. I don't think it's all cynical and it's all money. I think when you look at it logistically as a society, as a population, it was just much easier to give you a jab than it was to get you to take 10 vitamins every morning.
So let me counter that. So
you know what I mean?
So what about natural immunity? So I mean, it's not about just taking vitamins.
How do you get natural immunity?
You had by having the thing. Look, what about, remember measles? Remember remember smallpox? Remember mumps and all that type of stuff?
But you also know you get... Wait a minute, measles and mumps, that's a shot.
Well, smallpox. No, but if you had it, do you have to take the shot again? You don't.
If you had it,
you don't.
Okay, but
but
it's gone.
Immunity.
It was
natural
gone.
Immunity,
but
Crispy. That's what I'm getting
all
on
those too, though.
Exactly.
Everyone takes the vaccine.
But that's what I'm saying. They didn't force people. Once you have it, you don't have to.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't, Crispy. Where you getting your information from?
But there was a couple of them they made us take.
Yeah, you had to. I'm not saying no, but natural.
So you just said you had to.
But it goes to what I'm saying right now. People can still take the vaccine, but you don't have to force people because of natural immunity. Natural immunity was something. This ain't something that just popped up.
Right, because a couple of those they made us take back.
You know what I'm saying?
We didn't have a choice either.
Most of our kids had to have shots in order
Do you know?
to go to school, right?
And look, and check this out.
Right?
Do any of you take the flu? Did any of you take the flu shot?
Did you hear what I
Before
said?
COVID came out, before COVID came out, to piggyback on what he's trying to say, before COVID emerged, they were telling me and Sonny that Layla had to take certain vaccines to get back in high school.
Agree.
They were forcing us.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not saying. But COVID is a very different case.
More importantly, the reason why they were forcing the kids because they knew if they didn't, this thing could spread so easily among the teenagers. So they forced my daughter to take certain vaccines to go to high school. They forced them. This is way before COVID emerged.
Yeah, but guess what?
But you know what I'm saying?
Guess what? But when you took that vaccine, though, it worked, and you were sure that it did.
Which one? The kids, the one that my daughter took?
Yeah. So I'm saying this one is different. It's not the same thing, and that's the problem.
I'll give you that. Those were proven for years.
Yeah, we still have some time. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm at the point now where I'm not saying you shouldn't take the vaccine or shouldn't take the vaccine, because the studies are showing it. You know what I mean? Like I said, Israel lead one of the biggest studies ever. The CDC ignored that. They don't care about that shit. They don't want to look into national immunity because they want to chase that. And then the problem with COVID became political.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, but wait.
And I blame that on the social media. And it's horrible, man.
Well, politicians.
Politicians.
Okay, two things, politicians. As far
who are
as...
not scientists, by the way.
Huh? Yeah.
Who are not scientists.
They're not.
No, they're not. Okay, so natural immunity. The idea is then you would have to catch this in order to build that natural immunity, which risks lives for people who potentially could.
How would risk lives? If millions of people are getting COVID,
hold on,
millions are getting COVID, bro. And in fact, in the next couple of years, everybody will have it. Millions of people are getting it. Some people didn't even know they had it. And they didn't need a vaccine. They didn't need a vaccine. They didn't need a vaccine.
My point.
Listen to what I'm saying. 2.9 million people. No, 2.9 million people in a study in Israel, the largest study in the world, prove that you are 13 times less likely to get COVID from natural immunity from a disease that has virus that has a high survival rate. So your point about you're putting yourself at risk. Well, if you're fat, you are. If you're unhealthy, you are. You know what I'm saying?
What about those people who are not? And then there's also this.
Well, that's a minute case, though. You know,
when we talk about the health side effects,
there's a lot we don't know about those.
People who got COVID thought they were, whether they're healthy or not, are still also having side effects from having COVID.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
Long-term effects,
and the vaccines
so we just
don't
that.
know.
Yeah, but people who had the vaccine still have side effects, man. This is at this point.
Everything's a hit or miss, and it all has to be calculated. So
and
my
that's
thing.
What I'm saying. So why?
Let me hold on.
Because of this, I should be allowed. The public should be allowed to have healthy skepticism.
Well, this is only
because the information isn't consistent with what we're doing. We're still learning as we're going along. But what we do know that this thing isn't about health. Nobody can tell me different. And that's my problem. As an ethical motherfucker, man. Can I curse in here? Yeah, as an ethical person, a moral person, man, who believe in health and believe in people, man, this is not about health. And these upper echelons and stuff, they don't, if it was, they would have did things differently. When you have qualified doctors who have been curing and helping people, they say, hey, nah, therapeutics ain't gonna work. There's so many doctors that they censored. Good doctors. I'm no conspiracy theorist. In fact, I'm inclined to believe now we owe a lot of conspiracy theorists an apology at this point. Because a lot of the things they said back then, they're happening right now and they come into fruition. Like a lot of those side effects and all that type of stuff, they said it was conspiracy. They blocked all the stuff on YouTube and they're coming out now. So I don't know. I think it's okay at this point to have healthy skepticism. I'm not telling you should get the vaccine.
So
and you can't tell me, if you don't get the vaccine, you know what I mean?
I'm just saying that there's a lot of health issues regardless of, I guess now you have to figure out if you take the vaccine, you might have some health issues, but it's less likely. But then if you do get COVID, there is a chance you can have health issues. And you
can still get it again. Studies have shown.
Exactly.
And they can't figure it out. Why he may be good for a year, you may only be good for 2 months. It's weird. They can't figure it out.
And there's another study on national immunity that said it can be for years, by the way. And I'm going to send that to you, too. There's another new study.
That whole natural thing, the antibodies, people who thought they had it and then they ended up not having any antibodies because they still needed. So they still ended up needing the vaccine.
But
wait.
But he's not listening to anything I say.
I am.
No, but you know you're not.
No, he's listening. He's listening. Give him a chance to. Hold on. Give him a chance to make his point.
Politics. This is really one thing I wanted to emphasize, and for especially people watching, is you're listening to politicians tell you that the virus is bad, or giving their opinions and it's opinions that you should not get the vaccine for these different reasons. However, they're vaccinated. So that's very interesting that you're going to listen to somebody who's vaccinated themselves, but for political reasons, they're trying to get people to still not. So that's a very, I just want to point that out.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I said Imani a very unique video of the director of the CDC of Walensky or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
she was at a congressional
African American sister.
Yeah, she was at a congressional hearing, and she was asked, what was the percentage rate of people who are vaccinated
over at the CDC.
And man, her answers, I didn't even know.
She didn't want to answer.
She didn't want to answer.
It was interesting.
In fact, her answers were so robotic and so mundane. You knew that this was textbook for her to protect herself. And I'm supposed to trust, you know what I'm saying?
And the CDC. She was protecting the CDC too.
Exactly. So when these are the things that really kind of make me wonder. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but why can't you just answer that question and just be upfront?
Well, some of us are, some of us are not, for whatever reason. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, they lied so much, Crispy, so I can't trust them. You know what I mean? They was hiding so many things. At this point in time, it's really, really hard for me to trust them, man. And I'm a big, history buff. So when I look back in time, if we don't learn about a history, we're damned to repeat it. This is not the first time where they've done things like this, man. You know what I mean?
I will say this, though. Back in the, I forget what year, when the Spanish flu hit, it was no social media, none of all this propaganda going on. And it's the mask, as you know, if you don't know, is the one that got us out of that back then.
I'm not too sure, but I can speak on that.
I believe that there was
wearing masks.
A vaccine
that
came
did
out
it.
and they forced.
I mean, I don't believe.
I think it was the mask.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a mask.
I do believe in masks because the thing carries in droplets.
So this is something I'm.
But I don't believe in wearing it all the damn time.
Right.
People can look and double check, but I swear when smallpox was an issue, and this is George Washington time period, that he made people get vaccine in order to survive. Y'all can look that up and double check. I'm not throwing no random stuff where I'm saying, this, and I'm not giving you some site specifics, but look it up and double check that. Tell me if I'm wrong.
That vaccine worked though, didn't it?
Yeah.
That vaccine,
sure
that vaccine, boy, you know that vaccine worked for sure like a mug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what we're dealing with now. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. And so while, like I said, the study now, my mind has changed over the past couple of years with this thing, from going to don't take that vaccine at all to like, wow, there's studies showing that, hey, if you got COVID, and you take a vaccine that's called hybrid immunity, it can still protect you.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have COVID, if you got COVID and you didn't take a vaccine, your immunity still works. Or if you have the 2 shots and you take a booster, it might help. There's you know what I mean? The studies are coming out.
Oh, it definitely helps.
You know
I mean, Rosenberg from Hot 97 was just on yesterday because he has COVID now, and because he's vaccinated, he was able to come to work. It's just like he has a flu. Not even a flu. He said like a cold.
Yeah.
He didn't believe it. He took 2 tests. They both were positive. It was reconfirmed. Then he was still able to go into work to Hot 97.
And he had Omicron then.
Yeah, it was one of those. You know what I'm saying? And then Ebro is stuck in Mexico right now because he tested positive on vacation. He can't come back.
Yeah.
But he's also vaccinated too, so he's chilling. And I can say, man, the doctors told my cousin Travis if my aunt had gotten the vaccine, she'd still be alive.
Yeah.
And those are facts because it lessens the viral load. And my aunt, that older generation, they just listen to everything they see on YouTube, they look at it as facts.
Yeah.
And my aunt was following all these dumb conspiracy theories. And she ended up dying of COVID when all she had to do was get the vaccine. And she was one of those people that was overweight and unhealthy. And so it's even more important for her to actually get it.
Or it was
what I'm trying to say? But someone who was unhealthy, Andrew, to the effect she was, it wasn't no going to the gym for her. No.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't no going to the gym for her, eating right for her.
Yeah.
No. But by the time she would have gotten the effects from that, she'd be dead already.
Yeah.
So it would have, which is another good point. Some people can't work out the way we can, or able to work out that we can, and obese and unhealthy for bad habits and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're at the point to where their only choice is the vaccine, man. And because of this misinformation, they end up dying. You know what I'm saying? Case in point, the prosecutor here in Cali, who was a staunch opposed to COVID vaccine, she just died after getting COVID.
Yeah.
And everybody's mad because she's being ragged on. But I hate to say it. I don't mean this. I'm not trying to sound cynical. If you were against it and you get it, and go, I don't have nothing to say.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm just saying, I just don't have nothing to say.
But my thing about it, at this point, I wouldn't say that because I don't think we should be definitive now at this point, man. Because it's still a virus that was man-made. We're still trying to understand it.
Yeah.
We know that the vaccine is working. We know that natural immunity is working. But we're not talking about that. We know that there's doctors out there who has helped a lot of patients to recover from COVID. You see, when you go to the hospital, they just recently start talking about what you need to do in hospital.
Right.
And
So
it's very,
when you
very
first
rare.
go, you take one thing.
This
you know what I'm
example is really good because this is your example of her trying to. So she got COVID, which if she would have survived, she would have natural immunity. But she didn't.
But you're not listening to me, Crispy. I just said this is a virus that we're not sure about. So that's why it's hard for us to be definitive. What if she survived? You know what I'm saying? We're still trying to understand this thing.
But she
did. So yeah, okay. But there are people who did survive.
Right.
You know what I'm
get
saying?
it.
Look at
Right.
me. So I survived. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
But you
I survived.
But
And
if you
a lot
wanted
of other
a
people-
whatever,
and
I mean,
millions of other people survived too.
Right. But you know what? I
We gotta
always
stop
say.
listening to damn news too.
But you know what? I always say. People can say what they want. I don't have not one friend that has died from the vaccine or the booster. But I do have friends that died from COVID.
And it's
so that right there tells me a lot.
And that's your reality.
You
And that's
know
why
what
we
I'm
have to
saying?
go outside. If you're not searching for something, you would never find it. But I guarantee you.
Oh, I didn't have to find it. It was just in front of me.
Well, no, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it was just
your
in front of me,
reality.
yeah.
Your reality is based on your own world.
Yeah.
So we can't make generalization statements based on your own reality. That's why I always say perspective is king, right? We have to go outside that. Hence the reason why I mentioned that dude was talking about the side effects and the adverse effects of COVID. If you go and you look up accredited doctor who talks about this, look in the comments at those anecdotal statements, anecdotal comments from real people who have no reason to come on there and say, hey, my daughter was 34 years old and she got a heart of a 70-year-old. You will see so many people affected by it. There are people, the last show, y'all know I was looking in the VAERS, right?
I don't want to be rude in this, but I kind of sometimes do have to be skeptical of people who are making some comments. Sometimes.
Well, you can't. Like I said,
I just want to say that. I just want to say that.
I'm not going to take. I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking that away from you, Crispy man, because there's a lot of people who put false information out. There's a lot of people who have agendas. Mm-hmm. But if you understand people, if you understand energy, most people ain't just coming out and just saying that, man. Sometimes, if you're not looking for something, you best believe you're not going to find it. Mm-hmm. And our reality, our perspective is different. That's why some people might believe, cops don't do anything bad to black people because they live in the suburbs. So that's why perspective is key. And when we do it,
but I'm saying,
we have to go outside.
The only thing I have is my perspective.
Well, no,
that's not a good example.
Yes, it is because
No,
if the only
because white people do know that
I'm sorry,
that cops do bad.
Listen,
reason why is because that white woman,
Crispy,
not to change the subject, but that white woman who got the guy in the park, she was like, I'm going to call the police, and I'm gonna tell them a black man is harassing me. They know, so that part I don't like. No, but go ahead. Look, I'm just putting my point.
You said the only thing you have is perspective, and which is true, but it doesn't have to be your only thing you have.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when it comes to COVID, just going back to your statement about me saying all I have to go on is what's in front of me, right?
That's true.
Right, that's all I have to go on. So if I'm looking at the numbers, and I have 10 friends that have gotten vaccinated with no issue, but I have 10 friends that's caught in COVID and 3 have died, that tells me something.
It does.
Yeah,
it does, and it's not
I shouldn't have to go to Israel to get 10 and 10.
That's
all I can go off of is what's in front of me.
No, man, come on. I know what you're saying, but
I'm not saying I won't look at Israel.
Well, that's what.
I'm simply saying.
Okay, good.
If statistically, if I'm going off of my logic, what's in front of me, that's all I can go off of. What else am I supposed to go off of? Something that I don't know or don't see.
Here's what's problematic about that, right? Now, I can't take what you see in front of you. That is real. It's 1,000% real. It's creating your reality
these are facts.
based on what you see. Yeah. Those are the facts until you step outside that. And my problem with that is when you have your own reality and you speak definitively about everything, you miss out a huge piece of the equation because now you're still in a box.
But I didn't speak definitively.
You know what I'm saying?
But I know what you're saying. You're like generally speaking.
And the reality is
definitively.
Most of the population is like that. Most of the population don't even know they take the vaccine. The reason they take the vaccine because the government say so. Most of the population don't even know all the things I've been talking about. The obesity rate, they don't know about natural immunity, they don't know about sunlight, they don't know that there's people like Dr. McCullough who is curing all these different people. They don't know because they listen to the goddamn media, and that's all they do, and that's who controls your life. The media is the devil. I don't care what nobody say. The only thing that they want to do is sell news. That's their job.
Oh,
you know they're not
of
supposed
course.
to tell you the truth. They don't have to.
Yeah.
They sell news. Now,
They sell news,
I sound like a crazy maniac right now, conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. The media is the devil.
I wouldn't say that.
And if we,
I wouldn't make it.
I'm not saying live in the box.
You just made a statement about general statements, so I gotta correct you.
Okay, well let's go.
All the news is not the devil.
Yeah, well you know what I mean, goddamn.
Okay.
You know what I mean. I mean, if you don't listen to news at all, you live in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Aliens can be taken over, and we in the house don't watch the news, and then you know what I mean.
Valid.
Yeah. I'm not
all
no.
of it,
I'm
but I agree with you that a lot of news is propaganda.
Yeah. Look,
bunch of false
They're closing
stuff.
down gyms right now. They're
false
telling us
stuff.
to stay inside. So we're depressed, right? We're living in fight or flight. That means we're off a homeostatic balance, meaning that our immune system is suppressed. We're down. We're like the.
So all right, guys. So to wrap the show, I'm just gonna say why I think you should get vaccinated. My opinion is you should, but there are conditions. I think you should if you're overweight and unhealthy. You should get vaccinated for a fact. That's just my opinion. If you're healthy and the chances of you having severe, effects from it and possibly dying, possibly not dying, the choice is yours. The choice is yours either way. My opinion is people that are unhealthy, like my aunt was, should get vaccinated hands down. That's my opinion. I do think it's your choice. If you decide to not to get vaccinated and you die from it, that's on you. I do think it's your choice, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I have. That's what I have to say about the whole thing.
And say I'm pretty much very similar line that if you have health reasons on why you should not get vaccinated, you shouldn't. But if you don't, I'm more inclined to say you should be vaccinated. If you're healthy and it doesn't disturb, there's nothing where you're affecting other people. Sure, why not? I don't care. But as he said, if you pass away, I'm not feeling bad for you, but I do feel bad for your family. Who are you leaving behind, and who if you have kids. I don't know that I would want to be unvaccinated. And
I will say, if you are healthy like we are, you may be one of the unlucky ones. That half a percentage that just happens to take you out for some reason. They haven't figured out why yet. Yeah. I would say that too. You know what I mean? That's what I have to say about it. Andrews?
For me, it's just for a virus that has a high survival rate, I would say, do your own due diligence and, get some perspective. And, there's studies showing that the vaccine may work. There's studies showing that natural immunity may work. Weigh your decisions and make a decision that's best for you. But don't mandate this. Don't force people. Don't lose your family and friends over a different perspective or ideologies. The only reason why we're having this conversation right now is because this thing has become like religion. It's political, and we're hating on each other and we're not choosing understanding. And there's no empathy when understanding is dead. So I don't want to force this on nobody. I think everybody should be able to choose. And that's it.
There you go. All right, guys, that's our show. I'm sure we'll be talking about COVID again, the vaccine, and all that. It's HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith and Andrews. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, IST Group Digital. And thank you for listening where you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Peace. Go get that vaccine and a double booster.